You're tuned in to Porch Talk with Rev Pat, where raw, real talk rules. So sit back and relax with that delicious cup of coffee or tea or your favorite glass of wine as Rev Pat delivers real, transparent, and raw conversations about all things life. Let's get started.
Welcome to your latest episode of Porch Talk with Rev Pat. I am so very blessed to have you join me. Today on the porch, I have Diane Randall, and we are going to talk about healthy eating, healthier lifestyles, life and balance, and everything else that we need to know to get our acts together. I'm guilty. So if you're as guilty as I am, grab your coffee, grab your tea, even glass of wine, and let's get talking. Miss Diane, we've already had our little talk, and you already know I need help. I don't mind admitting it. I don't mind admitting I need help. Now, you are a life coach, a guiding mindful coach. Wow. You have a master's degree in spiritual psychology.
Yes.
That is
Yes, I do.
deep. You also attended the Institute of Integrative Nutrition in New York City. Wow.
Yes.
So you just have a passion for this.
I have a passion for this. The passion was trying to get myself healthy 20 something years ago.
Really?
Yes. I was a technology engineer, and I'm young, I'm divorced with 2 kids, all these balls in the air like you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I'm young, 29, 30 years old, and my blood pressure, everything's off the chain. My doctor's telling me you need to change or you're going to have a stroke or a heart attack, because I wasn't going in the right direction. But I also knew that even having a fabulous career was not going to sustain me. All these great things I have going on, if I didn't stop and take care of myself or figure out what that even means. So you were talking earlier.
You were
I didn't have a
29?
clue.
You
29,
were
30.
29 years old.
I just started out early with all my issues. I think losing a sister at 19 years old just kind of opened me up in ways that I probably wouldn't have been at such a young age.
Right.
But the stress was palpable. It really was. And, getting divorced with the 2 young children and still trying to figure it out, have a career, be a mom, start a business, and thinking all these things are great. But what I didn't have were tools to manage my life.
Right.
And my health started failing me, not just physical health, mental health as well, because the two should be in alignment. So I had no intention of becoming a coach, a consultant, or even a teacher. I was just going to focus on my career. But as I did my research and figured out different things, then I'd find a class on healthy eating. I mean, it's easier now to find the podcasts and shows like yours to give you information. But I literally had to read a book. I'd discover a teacher. I'd go to a workshop. And along the way, I just found things that resonated with me to help me to stay healthy, happy.
Yeah.
Bringing balance into my life and learning that balance is really my definition of balance. Okay, it's not working 12 hours a day. I mean, we've all done it. I mean, it depends on the phase of your life. When I was raising kids, I worked a lot, and then I got the kids to deal with.
Right.
But it's figuring out asking myself, what matters? What matters to me? What is going to help me keep my balance and not make me feel stressed out and overwhelmed? Because that was my state of being for a long time.
You see, now let me ask you something. Do you think, I wonder why, because I'm not naturally inclined to exercise or eat healthy. I have absolutely no desire. I'm just, well, I didn't. Let me put it like this. I didn't. I love y'all, don't be writing in. I love my smothered pork chops. I love my rice and gravy. I love my sweet potatoes. I love my cabbage. I love my Southern Sunday afternoon after church, eating, fall asleep dinner. Um, and that's just part, and I love cooking. And I love cooking. So a tip to y'all that like eating, you better learn how to cook. If you love to eat, learn how to cook. I love to eat, so I love to cook. But now, at my age, at 62, I know that I have to do better. But why is it so hard for someone? Let me tell you.
It's
Let me give you a tip.
Pat, it's hard because we are conditioned, not just to eat, but we are conditioned that eating is love, eating is celebration, eating is what brings us together as a family. I mean, we are conditioned from the time we get here on the planet. I mean, and even as African Americans, food is, everything.
Food is
And
everything. Food
food
is
is everything.
everything.
It's the emotional attachment that keeps us, not just you being it's not even you like, oh, I'm a bad person for eating the way I do. No, it's that emotional attachment that we have around food. And I can tell you when I first became plant-based, I experienced a lot of interesting feelings around that because, and I'll say grief, feeling not included. When I went around my family and I'm not eating what they're eating,
Man,
because that's what brought us together.
now let me
But
tell
I'm
you,
also,
my daughter is healthy. My daughter is more like you, my oldest
Mhm.
daughter. He's certified personal trainer, did the whole uh, eating right and whatever.
Mhm.
No problem. No problem for her at all. It was just difficult for me to eat some kale. I'm not playing. First of all, I got mad because I cooked it and it cooked down and it was like maybe enough for 2 or 3 teaspoons. So now I'm mad because what happened to this thing, a whole big thing of kale I bought. So I'm on the phone with my girlfriend going, "Are you serious? This is what this does? It just shrinks like this?" And she goes, "Yeah, but you're gonna eat it."
Yeah, and I think you have to have a why. Why? And I'll just give you an example. For me, many years ago, my why was that I needed to get healthy or I'm going to have some serious issues.
Wow.
I'm looking at a stroke. I'm looking at a heart attack. My blood pressure's all over the place. My cholesterol's all over the place. So my why was to be here with my children and to be healthy. I don't think and I'm just saying this just from the years. What is your why is the question. For me, it was just wanting to feel better
Yeah.
and be with my family without all the chronic diseases that I had one, and then my doctor wanted to put me on cholesterol medication, and I said, how long? She said, for the rest of my life. That did it.
And see,
Because I
that's
was
where I
young.
am. That's where I am. People, when you hear that now there's my why. I don't want to be grandma with this pill box Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday with 1,000 pills in it. So I know my why. And probably this is where we need your help because I'm sure there are people just like me. We have that earnest why and we really truly want to do better. It's the getting past the
It's not the wanting. It's, are you ready? Are you ready?
want. Now you're gonna make me feel guilty. Golly.
Are
Um,
you ready? Are you ready to make the change? That's the question. The acknowledgement and the wanting, that's good. I'm not minimizing that. But what gets you over the hump, Pat, is are you ready? Are you ready?
all right,
Are
you
you
people.
ready and are you willing to make those changes? Because you have to dig deep to keep those commitments, to want better health more than you want those pork chops. You might have the wanting for the pork chops, but your why and your willingness to be different, so you're not on medication, rises above that pork chop, as an example.
All right, so all of y'all that are just like me, y'all better go and tell the truth about the. I'm midway to the ready because honestly, when he said cut that out, I did cut that out. I did. I'm like, okay, I won't. And I was fiending for some pig. I am not gonna lie. I was so happy when Thanksgiving got here and I could have a bite of ham. But it's the getting to where you're saying, and I want to be honest with my audience because I'm struggling in this area, or else we would not be talking. I really am struggling in this area. I know my why. I know what's best for me. I know when you know better, do better. It's that's something that I don't know. Could you possibly want it and still um because you said eating is attached to emotions, right?
It's attached to emotions. And here's another bigger piece that nobody ever thinks about. The food that we eat has been prepared with addictive ingredients like sugar, processed food. And what that does is it tells our brain that we're constantly hungry. So that's a big piece of it. So how do you um, uh, deal with that? Part of that is when I talk plant-based, it's eating foods that are grown in the ground that have no mother, and eating foods that are, your greens, your
Yeah.
seeds. And I'm not just saying you eat a seed, I'm saying you can cook your lasagna, you can cook your greens, but instead of using pig feet or whatever, I don't cook that much these days, so whatever
Girl,
goes
you ain't
in
gonna
them.
see no pig feet, nothing I eat, but I
Instead,
understand. I follow you.
I'm just going back,
Yeah,
from when I was younger, you know.
yeah, I know.
It's using other ingredients to season the food. What the plant-based food does is it clears your body, your palate, your mind, your brain, because it's your brain that wants to keep you
Tied to
eating,
the foods that you're used
tied to
to.
the food. That is a bigger piece of it. It's bigger than I think we ever think about. But that is the job of the food companies in general, is to keep us eating. So what I can say is once I started eating more healthier foods, letting go of the processed foods, replacing the food one step at a time with something healthy, I lost my addiction
Wow, that is
to
so
sugar,
deep.
to sugar and processed food. Even till this day, 15 years later, I can see a table full of desserts and walk right by.
Oh my God, you would be a miracle worker if you could get me to see a table full of desserts and walk right.
I know.
That you would have
It's
earned
still
your
weird.
saint pen. You would be standing before God and he'd be going, well done, thy good and faithful servant, because you got her to walk past that table. Now,
Pat,
can you kill a myth? Can you kill a myth? Because what most people say, and this is a big argument, is that I want to eat healthy, but eating healthy food is expensive and I can't afford it.
That's not true. And here's what I say to that today. Is it expensive to have diabetes? Is it expensive to have heart disease? Food does not have to be expensive. Yes, you're right. You want to eat better, people, but here's the thing. When you eat healthier, you're eating more fiber, you're eating more vegetables, you don't eat as often. You don't eat as often. You're not hungry all day long. You don't have those cravings that keep us going to get the ice cream, the cake, and all the other processed foods that we eat. It totally changes things around in a different way. Like now I eat twice a day and I'm not hungry, I don't snack. Not that I told myself I'm gonna hold off from snacking. I'm gonna hold, no. It's the natural progression over the years, taking one step at a time, changing one dish at a time to being healthier.
See, now that's good. Because again, I'm using me as an example because I know somebody in my audience probably has experienced the same thing. I think it was really overwhelming when I made the decision. I think what I should have done is just kept my mouth shut and not tell anybody. Because of course, when you tell people, then everybody's got a way for you to do it. And I felt so overwhelmed with, okay, I need to take all of this out, and you can't eat this, and you can't eat that, and you can't eat that, you can't eat that. And I think when I did the little let me take a break thing, it was easy for me to slide back into my routine because I had denied myself things that I really did enjoy, because everybody was, you can't eat this, or you can't eat that, and you can't eat this, and you know you shouldn't be eating that. And I think that kind of is a turnoff for someone like me who already finds it difficult to make the transition. So do you think, what other
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. You talked about telling yourself you should not tell yourself what you can't do. We already know, you just said where things end up. Here's the thing, instead of saying, I can't do this, there's a concept called crowding out. And you could start this, your next meal. It's eating whatever you're gonna eat, but making sure you have vegetables on your plate, a huge amount of vegetables. And the idea of crowding out is to eat the vegetables first, because once you eat a bunch of vegetables first, then the idea is that you'll eat less of whatever else you're going to eat, whether it's a pork chop, whether it's mac and cheese. The idea is that you didn't start with that, the pork chop and the mashed potatoes. You started with the vegetables. And the idea is that slowly you're crowding out the unhealthy food. It is a process, okay? And you have to have courage to change your life, because many people around us don't understand the change. And it's really a solo journey. And courage is needed to walk down that path of eating healthy, eating more plant-based foods. It takes courage, because when you're around family and friends, even if you're okay, they're going to wonder why you're not a part of what's going on. And it takes courage to say, I'm on this journey to eating better.
Now, second component has got to be support system, right? My husband is very supportive, and my daughters are very supportive.
Here's what I've learned. Here's what I've learned. It's awesome if you're around like-minded people that can support you. Because if you're just around people who don't have the tools either, then it's hard to change around that. But it's being intentional about who you, especially when you're learning what to eat, is who you surround yourself with, even if it's just at mealtime. Even if it's going out to dinner. Maybe you don't go to your favorite restaurant that has every processed food that you can imagine. That's good, by the way. Maybe it's changing things up a bit until you can integrate habits and have a decent practice, so that even if you go out with other people, it doesn't matter what they're eating, you don't want it. But it's also giving yourself an opportunity to eat better and to practice that, and including people that can either participate by eating healthy or, changing things up.
Now, along the way, I mean, before you got to the point where you could walk past the dessert table and not have anything? Every once in a while, did you kind of treat yourself to something you like?
But here's the truth. Once you truly, and I'm not perfect. I don't eat processed food, but I'm not perfect. Believe me, there's some plant-based and vegan food, where you can. I literally noticed after about 3 months that I didn't have anything sweet, and it kind of blew my mind because I was addicted to sweets. But
Okay.
what I knew was the journey, the road I was on was good for me. My blood pressure went down, the cholesterol changed, and I wanted more of that. I wanted to
Wow.
feel better. I wanted to be healthier. So you don't have to go to school to learn how to eat like I did. I was just curious
You say you don't have
because
to go to school.
I became a coach, and how can I help people if I'm trying to learn myself,
Right,
and I
right.
wanted to share what I've learned. So it's just eating those non-processed foods,
Okay.
allowing yourself to explore. What, like one day a week, maybe you have a dinner that you tweak that's more healthy than you just start one step at a time, one meal at a time.
And see, that's good. I think most people, and I tell you why I'm so interested in this. Not just for me, because I don't think I totally believe nothing that happens to me is about me. It's always a bigger picture. It's always about me and serving others.
Mm-hmm.
And what really hit me last year was when I went into the doctor, I looked like anybody else. I didn't have not one symptom. I didn't have any symptoms. He was stunned. He was really stunned that I had no symptoms when it came to my blood pressure, because when he took my blood pressure, he was like, whoa, let me let you sit here for 20 minutes and then I'm going to go take it again. And when he took it again, he was like, let's wait another 20 minutes and we're going to take it again.
Mm-hmm.
And took it wait another few minutes and came back and took it again. And he just went, no, we're going to have to get this under control.
Mm-hmm.
The anxiety was off the chart. Again, no, well, I would say really the blood pressure scared me, because the only thing when I got in the car after the shock of it, because that's not even what I went in there for, after the shock of it, I just got in the truck and I'm just sitting there thinking, and the only thought that came to my mind, high blood pressure, silent killer. That's the only thing I heard in my spirit. High blood pressure, silent killer. And here I was, a walking example of somebody that had no clue, no symptoms, no dizziness, no nothing. And so that was a jolt.
Mm-hmm.
That was a jolt. So with that, I determined that other women my age, African American women my age, need to know that you can be walking around and not even know that you're one step away from dropping dead or whatever. So in order for me to do that, I've gotten past the first one. I got that. All right, I did good. And then I just fell off. And that fall wasn't even a fall. I'm telling you, it was like I leaped over and said, okay. And there's no way to justify it. I'm talking to my doctor. I was like, I don't have any excuses. I just decided I was going to take a break. And I took a break, and the break ended up being not a couple of weeks, not a month. It just ended up going this long. So the get back has to be a different plan.
And once you're on a journey that you're taking one step at a time, you don't need a break, because you're not putting pressure on yourself to do anything but take one vegetable, one grain, one healthy meal at a time.
That is so good. One healthy meal
at a time. Because I'll tell you, I was on blood pressure medicine at 35 years old. And I believe that I would have a whole lot of things wrong with me today at 63 had I
Who's
not.
63?
Me.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Are you
Yes, I
serious?
am. I'll be 64 in July.
July to what? You look like you're what? You look like you're in your 30s. Are you 63?
I got kids in their 30s. Yep.
Oh, y'all, I'm glad this is on YouTube. Y'all, oh my, if that don't motivate you, my gosh. It will. Oh my good. No, I'm serious. I never would have guessed 63 at all. At all. Even, well, July to what?
21st.
I'm July
I'll be
14th.
64.
See, y'all,
Oh,
look.
happy
Hey,
birthday.
hey, is somebody, seriously. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
And I
Girl,
definitely
I
feel
wait to meet your son's friends when they walk up on their mama. Like, man, that's your mama.
he's used to it. Not as friends, but strangers think we're a couple. That's even worse.
I bet they do, because I am just, now, that's not motivation. I cannot wait to tell my daughter. My goodness.
But it's also aging where we don't have all the conditions that can come along with aging. And people say it's old age, but yes, our bodies change, but I don't believe you have to have every chronic condition. A lot of the chronic conditions come from our habits. I'll say some of them come from our habits, like type 2 diabetes, like high cholesterol, heart disease. That's from eating the standard American diet, which a lot of people don't know. So I can't say that you should really make it your fault. But explore, okay, if I'm eating the next thing you buy at the store, let's say you buy bread, it's reading those ingredients on that bread and really looking at, okay, what is in my food? It's starting to pay attention to what's in your food. If you don't do anything else, how can you pay attention to the food that you buy in the store, where you can turn it over and read the ingredients?
Wow.
And what you'll find, Pat, is sugar is in everything.
In everything.
Everything.
And
I'm not saying that you become invincible, because one of my best friends who taught me about plant-based and vegan has cancer. But what I admire about her is she's in the best shape of her life to deal with the cancer physically.
Right. Well, I mean, and anybody that would think that, well, that's a God call. So I wouldn't even.
Yes.
That's a God call.
Yeah, I hear you.
Some stuff is God call.
It is. It really
I mean,
is.
you can pick up the paper every day and somebody that's been exercising every day of their life or
That's
whatever
right.
will pass out. And people
But
go,
what
well,
I
how did he
can
die?
say,
He was in such good grip. Well, okay.
if things show up, you are better able to fight it. Fight it from having better health inside.
Well, I think I would rather have a good chance at fighting it on the onset if I can.
If we can. But what I've learned is, like you just said, sometimes things come up that are out of your control. But at the same time, you're in the best position to handle it.
Now you also not only do you teach this, you also balancing life and all of this stuff that goes with life. And again, I'm just guilty. I'm just saying, I'm me. I'll be the guinea pig. I'm me. I get to doing things. I'm trying to get stuff off the to-do list. And what am I doing? I'm snacking here. I'm snacking there. I'm snacking. I'm staying up late. What am I doing? I'm snacking while I stay up late. Because, if I just eat this, I'll just that'll wake me up, or that'll wake me up, or that'll keep me woke. So the balance in the stress of life, for me, I know is a trigger for eating. It really is. And I eat to comfort myself. If I don't get something done or whatever, that's my little comfort thing. I'm just my little. I have to have my. Well, I used to. Now that I talked to Diane, I'm gonna feel guilty. I used to have my little my bluebell ice cream cups, but I did good because I went from a bowl to a little ice cream cup and said, "This is all I can have." Period. Don't buy half a gallon because I'll eat the whole thing, but buy me a little cup and I'll eat that. So, do you think those two work in tangent with each other? For those of us that are not where you are, where we're that life balance, the stresses of life, trying to get things done.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely. They are right there together. So I used to just, when I first started out, I just focused on the balance. But what I recognized was food was a big part of that. If you're staying up, if you're not eating a balanced meal, if you're not taking breaks and getting your rest, there's stress, there's anxiety. You're probably not eating meals the way you should.
No.
So how do you bring that into balance? And what does balance look like for you? I know you have your pot, you have a lot of things going on. How can you have that but balance it? When I say balance it, you will have so many hours in a day. How can you, who says, okay, do you have to do these things every single day?
Probably not.
How can you have the things that you love, the things that bring you passion, the things that allow you to be of service? How can you put those things into perspective? And what I mean by that is, Pat, how can you have your podcast? How can you do it in a way where it's not taking up all of your time? What would that look like for you?
For me personally, now
I'm just saying for you, what would that look like if you had the other businesses that you are of service? How would you, what would that look like?
Oh, it would look great. But now let me say this about me. This is my downfall because I am so, well, part of my personality. I am super organized. So everything is ... Now, throw in the mix. I have a 4-year-old grandson who is autistic severely. So I've learned, because I was really stressed, I've learned how to adjust my schedule for him because he's in school. He's in school now from 8 to, and he gets here about 3:15. So I don't do anything after 2 o'clock.
There you go. So you can do it.
Yeah. So I made up my mind. I'm like, okay, that same question you just asked me, I said, okay, something's got to change because I can't keep trying to fit monitoring everything else around him. So
how can you fit you into your schedule where you're not stressed? What does that look like, Pat?
But me, I don't have any time. I don't have any time.
But what if you did have time? What would that look like, Pat?
I'd come up missing.
But I like that you said that because when I hear, you know what? That is an awesome idea because you know what I would do? Raising my kids and before COVID, you know how I come up missing? Like next week, I'm going to a retreat and I do meditation and yoga, but I'm for 4 days shutting off my life for 4 days. That is not a bad idea, Pat.
Look, I'm gonna tell you right now, they be spinning out a posse like, wait a minute, she said she was just going around. No, she ain't go, she gone.
No, well, I mean, like, what could you do for you to come up missing that would help you bring like a renewal perspective?
Look, let me tell you what I thought about. You remember, I'm gonna tell my age for real. Yeah, I remember when they used to have this commercial, and I said this in a devotional to the women, to the ladies. You remember when they used to have a commercial where they said, Calgon, take me away? And they just made it seem like all you had to do was run a bath and pour some
That's right.
Calgon in it,
That's
and then
right.
you just
That's
relax.
right.
Everybody just leaves you alone. You just go and
That's
do
right.
this. Okay,
That's right.
I need a Calgon moment. That's it.
You
And
have to
it's
create
coming
that.
up. It's coming up because my husband is going on sabbatical, and he's going to be gone for about a good 2 weeks. And I am making good use of every day of that 2 weeks. I asked the Lord,
Awesome.
okay, give me permission because I get up this is my day, really. This is why this is really something really serious about finding balance. My morning starts at about 3:30, 4 o'clock every morning. I do a live devotional every morning at 6:30. And I have been doing that for about 2 years, a little over 2 years now. So from the time I get up in the morning, the moment I hit my feet hit the floor, I'm running. I mean that seriously. And I'm sure this is true for other women that are listening. I am on the go. I probably do more before 9 a.m. than most people do in a half a day. I've already done it. So my days in, I shut everything down at about 2 o'clock because it's too much of a distraction. But once everybody settles down, this is my time. This is how I justify things. My time is that quiet time. That time beginning at 10:30, between 10:30 and any number of hours before everybody else is up and going. Well, that's my quiet time for me. And my husband is like, you cannot stay up till 12, 1 o'clock in the morning and turn back around and get up at 4 o'clock. My mentality is, well, it's quiet. My brain functions better. I think better. I'm more creative. So that's my corner. It's that meeting in that sweet spot where I get to say, okay, this is period, me, my time. I need this time just to think, nothing else. I'm not trying to come up with any new ways of doing anything. I just need that time. And I'm sure that's why a lot of women need to hear, how do we make this work? How do we balance all of this? Of course, ministry is first. So if something happens and he needs me to do something for church, or we need to meet a need for the church, I'm always available for that. If someone needs to be ministered to, I'm available for that. So how do you teach women to balance that type of thing, that type of lifestyle?
Well, I teach a class called Jumpstart Your Life. And the first thing that we do is look at all the aspects of your life. Okay, your mental, physical, spiritual, all those things that make up your life. And it's ranking those things from the top priority all the way down to the least priority, or look at the 2 areas you'd like to improve in. The next thing, and this is pretty powerful, I always get a good response, is writing down what you do. You just went through that from the time you wake up until the time you go to bed. And it's looking at those priorities, because sometimes when you write things down, you're like, whoa, I didn't realize I was doing this or that. And it's looking at those priorities and looking at, okay, where am I? What is missing? And what can I take away? Because if you don't look at what you're doing, how you're spending your time, how do you come into agreement with anything? Because time gets away from us because we are busy,
Yes.
So it's writing those things down and making a list of what is important. How do you want to spend your time? How do you want to do things that add to your life and not take away, like the stress, the anxiety, the high blood pressure?
Mm-hmm.
How can you incorporate, Pat, things like, and I'm making this up, it's whatever it is to you, the yoga. How can you meditate or pray? Things that calm you. How can you get physically active? Nobody says you have to go to a gym. I learned that through COVID. Okay.
Thank you.
I can do just as much exercise looking at a free YouTube video. So there's no excuse for I can't afford the gym. Right?
Y'all heard that from a coach and not me.
I did. I learned that myself. And I actually learned I did better actually. But how do you add things into your life when you write down those priorities that will add back to your mind, your body, and your spirit instead of taking away? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And how can you set boundaries to protect those self-honoring choices that you're about to make?
Ooh, I know you have a lot of women that have an issue with that.
I teach that class too.
Yeah.
How can you make self-honoring choices? Not being selfish, self-honoring. Because if you are taking care of yourself, you can show up more for the people you love, the people you serve, without wanting to kill somebody. Because you are at your wit's end from all this doing.
From all this doing.
Yes.
And I really, that is really, really vital. And I think you get so accustomed to the doing. Even if it's you, let's just say, away from anybody else, even if it's just you, even if it's just a part of your natural nature to do. And that is me. I can say I'm guilty of that. It doesn't have really anything aside from actual really need to do responsible things.
Right. And
it's
just
as women to do. I can't sit. I'm like,
I know.
Sitting, something is wrong.
As women,
I feel guilty if I'm just sitting. Is that crazy or what?
How do you begin to let go of that? Because that is in the way of you making those self-honoring choices to do things that support you. Your work, your life. And a lot of people, and how do you protect those self-honoring choices? And I'm so serious about that, is with boundaries. And I also say, when you make those self-honoring choices, you have to have courage to keep those boundaries in place. Because that's a big one.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking to myself, who do we have the most difficulty doing that with?
Ourselves.
Closest to us, and ourselves, because if I want a job and my boss said, "Can you do this?" No, can't stay overnight. Nope, I gotta get home.
You can say that, and you can do that with love and kindness.
Yeah, but surely said. But anything else outside of that, it's y'all know I'm not lying. Let me pray about it and get back with you. When you know in a million, I want to do that. Oh, okay, I prayed about it. And all righty, I'll work again. And we do that.
And then what the next question I'll ask you, when we do it anyway, right? We just do it. So the next question I'll ask you, what is it costing you to continue to do that?
Man, y'all.
What is it costing you?
You're gonna have a lot of people feeling guilty. You're gonna have a lot.
You know what? It's not feeling guilty, but acknowledging.
Well, it's not guilt. It's conviction. Y'all know, y'all getting convicted, and you know this means that there's a need to make a change. And you might not want to take Diane Randall's class because y'all be going home. No, I've set a boundary and I'm not budging. I'm sorry. I'm not budging. I'm
Okay,
not budging.
I said with love and kindness, you start
Yeah,
small.
yeah.
You start small. Because, I mean, I always talk about moms with kids.
Mm-hmm.
Or you still going home and you have a 17-year-old still cleaning up that child's room after working all day. That's just one example. Did your boss ask you to work? No, the boss gave you a report that he told you he needed a report. And you said, yes, I can do it. But the boundary is about, you know what? I got to be home by 5. It's 4:30. So the boundary setting is negotiable. I can have this for you tomorrow at 8, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever that time is.
Mm-hmm.
It's making self-honoring choices that support you. Not, can you do this report? You stay there because in your mind, you don't have any boundaries and you say, okay, and you stay there for 2 more hours to do the report. You've missed out on everything, but you're mad at him.
And we do that, and we do that, and we do, well, y'all do that because I don't do that because I was always crazy. No, do that in the morning. No. Well, I mean, and I did. Now that was a boundary I did not cross because I was a single mother. So there was never we're not crossing that boundary. No, absolutely. It's the other areas that
Regardless of what the area, I mean,
so
everybody
I'm saying that
has
for all of
certain
y'all that
areas.
say that are out there like me that just heard that scenario, that analogy, and went, "Well, I never have that problem." Well, you have a problem probably in another area where you need to set something.
Exactly. And if you say, because I get people say, oh, everything's okay. So they say, well, how do I know if somebody's, crossing a boundary with me? You
Mhm.
know, you feel it in your gut. You already
Mhm.
know when they said, can you do this report? You were already having that conversation. Okay. You know.
We do. We know. We
So
know.
it's taking that feeling and being honest about that feeling and speaking on it. If it's a negotiation between doing that report today and in the morning, because you know you got something to do at 5. It's having the courage to let people know what you need from them.
Now let me ask you something. When you made this change, were people shocked, or were you already kind of sort of had that personality and you just kind of elevated it, or did?
Here's the thing. I'm so blessed with the work I do because I learn from people every day. And teaching this over and over again, I've learned that I am important, I matter,
Hmm.
and that I need clear boundaries for people. Clear boundaries also make for better relationships, better communication, because you meet someone, they don't know you, they don't know who you are, they don't even know where your edges are. So it's my job to teach you how to treat me.
Ooh-wee.
And that's where the boundaries come in. So if someone says, can I make an appointment tonight?
Mm-hmm.
If I already know that that's not how I choose to operate, I will
Mm-hmm.
say, log on, to the computer, go to my schedule, my website, go to my schedule and make an appointment. And I have all the appointments, Pat, where I am available for my clients.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the time is not on that calendar, then I'm not available.
And there's a reason why I'm not available. So
There's a reason why I'm not available.
yeah.
Yes.
And
And
there's
that is
tactful way of saying if it's someone I choose to deal with, well, I tell you what, if you don't see a time that's workable with your schedule, just send me an email and let me see if I can work with you.
But
That's,
I keep my schedule updated. I update it a
yes.
lot because it's in line with what I have to do for myself,
Wow.
with other clients, work, travel. So if you go on and I look at it probably 3 times a month. Or if I know I'm going out of town or something, I'll go and update it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's when I'm available for other things. And guess what? I show up fully ready, Pat,
Mm-hmm.
to support these people in any way I can, and not thinking about, Lord, hope this doesn't take too long,
Yeah. And that is
So,
now that is one thing that the podcast has taught me. That I love knowing that if this is the time I have for so and so, I feel so much more relaxed when I get and I know there's nothing else coming behind it or
that's right.
whatever. I feel so good knowing that after that 2 o'clock shut off. I don't have to worry about what else is going to happen, or maybe what if I can't make it, or whatever. No, because I know between these hours I'm good. And a very good friend.
You're good. And one thing that's also important is, Pat, and for me and for you, for anyone else that serves others, how am I showing up?
Yeah. And I want you to get 100% of me. I don't want you to get.
That's right.
a
So
piece
if
of me.
I am managing my life and balancing my life and making sure I'm getting what I need, then I'm showing up for you 100%.
Mm-hmm.
100%. In those times where I am available.
Where I am available. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want the stress attached to it at all.
That's right.
At all. I don't want to feel stressed about that at all.
And we've all been there. I've been there where I was stressed out, didn't have any tools, trying to be everything to everybody. Doesn't work. And that's why I'm sick. I got high blood pressure. I need to lose weight. Really. Seriously. Because I'm not in my schedule.
Look.
The workout could be, Pat, taking a walk.
Oh yeah.
It could be taking a walk. It could be anything like that. It's thinking about, okay, how can I prepare a healthy meal instead of being so busy you can't even think about it?
It's, yeah, like my husband walks and he's like, why don't you go walk with me? Not a chance. Will you see me out there in that heat walking? Absolutely not. I can walk in the house. They have exercises that's called walking exercises. I can do those in the house. No, but it's good for you. We live in Texas. It's 102 degrees in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Mm-hmm.
all of you people watching, no, this air doesn't do 102 degrees at all. Not well at all. So we just gonna be honest about it. I know y'all. No. So, I really, oh my goodness, that hour went by so fast. I really want to invite you to come back and do Beyond the Porch. Your schedule, your time, you let me know what times you have open, and we'll just record. And I've already talked to you about the other thing. And before we leave, we're gonna do the hookup thing because man, something crossed my mind listening to you talk. The Holy Spirit dropped a nugget that I would not have come up with listening to you talk about a very specific thing. So we'll talk about that. Y'all, I know y'all don't want to hear it. I know y'all want to hear the rest of this, but you're not going to be able to hear it unless you are subscribed to Porch Talk via Zippy Stream. You're going to have to be subscribed to get Beyond the Porch conversations, which are a lot deeper and a lot more informative, but you only get it if you are subscribed to the podcast. So there's a link right in the description where you can subscribe via Zippy Stream, and you get to hear all of the exclusive, only for you content available on Zippy Stream. So sign up. Once again, thank you for joining me on the porch. Get ready for next week's conversation. Don't know what it's going to be about, so you're going to have to listen in. And thank you once again to Diane Randall. And I'm going to convince her to do a couple of more spots because this got so good. I'm sitting here almost wanting to take notes, and I forgot my pen, y'all. I bet y'all want to do it next time I talk to you. So have a blessed weekend. And as always, embrace the blessings that are available to you in this day and be intentional about being a blessing to somebody else.